Okay, hi y'all. So I just tried Brynne's makeup on TikTok, like her full in-depth makeup tutorial, and I will say it looks so good. Winged eyeliner really isn't for me. It just really doesn't go with my eye shape. So this is gonna be a 2-for-1 type of video where I am going to do Brynne's makeup again, like everything the same, except I'm going to change the shape of the eyeshadow. I'm just not gonna wing it out. I'm gonna do more of a rounded shape that I normally would do for my eye shape, but everything else I'm gonna keep the same. If you wanna see the original attempt at that, it's on my TikTok. I have it linked down below. But in this video, I'm also going to do a full face of all of my favorite amazing stuff from Walmart only brands. I have some new things that I want to talk about, like the Halo Glow pressed powder, the new Milani foundation. I got this stuff isn't new, but I got one of the new hard candy lip oils. So, like I said, 2-for-1. We're going to do Brynne's makeup tutorial with all drugstore Walmart brands that are amazing. Okay, so let's get into it. So once again, I am following Brynne Marie's TikTok in-depth makeup tutorial. So I'm just doing my best with what I've got. So she starts out with a tacky glowy base. So I'm doing a little bit of a mixture here. I'm using the NYX The Face Glue Gripping Primer, which is no secret my new favorite primer from the drugstore. And I'm also mixing in this hard candy luminizer, which is new to me. I got it just to try this makeup tutorial, and I am in love. Brynne said that she does a glowy kind of primer base because it kind of just shines through your foundation and just makes you look so ethereal, like you have this glow from within, and she is not wrong. It looks so freaking good. I feel like I used to do this a long time ago, like 10 years ago with my base routine. And for some reason, I just grew out of it. I just stopped. I tried other things. And I have fallen in love with the very glowy underneath the foundation situation. It is so nice. So after I get that on, I am going to carve out my brows, which if you guys have been here for like any amount of time, you guys know I really don't do anything special with my brows. They've always been, I don't know, like my struggle point, but not even my struggle point, just something I don't even really care about. I just fill in the tail a little bit and then run some brow gel through it and call it a day. And I just never really care too much about them. So carving them out is pretty new for me. This is only the second time right now you're seeing on video that I've ever carved out my brows in literally the 15 years that I've been doing makeup on myself. So I'm going slow. I'm carving out underneath. I'm carving out on top, and just kind of giving myself, like, basically you're outlining the shape that you want, but with the concealer, which I thought was really interesting. And then you put the concealer all over the lid as the primer and just kind of blend everything out. And then you just basically fill in the blank, like you just fill in where you already outlined. It's a very interesting brow technique, and I actually really like it. I think my brows look really good. And yeah, I mean, she shaves off the tail of her brows. I don't quite have that going on. I used to do that. I mean, I used to fully shave off my brows. I've done like everything with my brows before. So I just really love it. I really love it. Like, I don't have as much to fill in as she does, but I still really love this technique. And I think that it actually does make a difference to take the time to carve out your brows. Like, look at that. My brows really have never looked that good. So I'm pretty impressed. So then she just takes her bronzer, whatever bronzer she's using, and just like basically slaps it all over the eyes. And this is what I'm talking about. I'm doing the same steps, just in a more rounded shape than what she does. I always kind of contour the nose like she does, so that's not new to me, but I'm just keeping it round and not winged out. And then she does a black liner, and I'm choosing to do brown and just smoke it out just like she does her liner. She does like a dark brown, and then she goes in with like a little bit of a lighter brown and just smokes it out really nice. And she creates like a nice smoky shadow wing, and I'm just creating a smoky shadow that is just lining my lash line instead of being winged out. I think it's really beautiful. I really like it. After that, she uses a brightener under the eyes, and again, one of the faves for a while now is the NYX under eye corrector. She's using like a pink corrector slash brightener, and she does it, in her words, she does like the 2016 concealer placement, which I love. I mean, that's pretty much how I place mine too, because I need a lot of color correcting and brightening under here. So she does that, blends it out, and then goes in with her foundation. Now here's where I kind of flubbed up. I did mean to use the Milani Stick foundation, but because I was following her tutorial in real life, I grabbed a liquid foundation because that's what she uses. But that's okay because it's still from Walmart, the drugstore, and it's still amazing. The e.l.f. satin foundation is so freaking good. And she starts with a brush and then blends it out with a beauty blender after that. I'm deciding to just go straight in with the beauty blender because the brush on my dry skin, it just never really looks as good. Even if I go in with the beauty blender afterwards, it just doesn't look as good as if I just go straight in with the beauty blender. So that's what I'm doing. Again, like she said in her original video too, she said just tweak it to what you like because everybody's skin and face is different. So that's kind of what I'm doing here. And then she does a nice brightening concealer. And this is another technique that I really, really liked. I've been known to leave the concealer to sit. That's not new to me at all. But what she does is just blends out the very edges of the concealer. And then she leaves the rest. I thought this was so interesting. She just blends the very edges of it so that in the end it looks like it's just way easier to blend along the edges, obviously, because you pre-blended them. But she leaves that very middle section very, very like untouched, so it can just kind of dry down and be very full coverage. And then she goes in with the bronzer. This is kind of like normal to me. I'm using the e.l.f. Camo bronzers. I'm using the shade 1 and 2 mixed together. And then she warms it up on the back of her hand and starts putting the bronzer. Her bronzer placement, for the most part, is pretty normal to me, like what I already do. The only difference is here on the nose. And then she also contours the bottom and top lip, which I've also never done before until she talked about it. And as you can see here, I really like it. I'm really impressed with that. I've never tried that. And her nose contour placement is a little different to what I normally do, and I really like that too. She kind of just goes right along the bridge, and I was going along the sides, but I really like that bridge placement. So here is where the concealer blend happens, and it's very cool to me. So she first puts on that cream blush, and then once she gets that blended how she likes it, she takes that same brush and then just starts blending the concealer. And as you can see here, this is like the most flawless concealer blend into the blush. It looks freaking gorgeous. It's such a seamless blend, and it's so full coverage under the eyes right where you need it. So then she goes on to set her entire face with translucent powder. Again, this is not new to me. I kind of grew out of this, but I used to do this. If you watched some of my base routines from maybe a year or two ago, I used to do the whole face in translucent powder. I switched that up fairly recently, like probably just in the last 6 to 8 months. So that's nothing new to me. Set the whole face with translucent powder. I'm using the Wet n Wild one. It's super, super good. A thing that she does that's a little bit different to me is that she also runs the translucent powder over the eyeshadow. I did it in the original video and I did it here, and I don't know if it's just my specific translucent powder, but I feel like it covers up too much of the eyeshadow. Like she said, she just puts a little bit to have it basically blend the eyeshadow better for you and just make it look smoother. But to me, it just took away a bunch of the color, so I ended up going back in with the bronzer and the eyeshadow liner. But that's just me. Like I probably won't be doing that in the future, but that's just me, you know, do whatever suits you. So then for her bronzer, this was a little bit weird, but she basically like just mixed like a whole bronzer trio palette together, and it was like a matte bronzer and some glowy bronzers. So I just mixed together the e.l.f. matte bronzers and the Milani shimmery bronzer and just threw it all over the face just like she did. And then I unfortunately did not have a nice pink blush to match that gorgeous pink blush from CoverGirl that I have. So I just threw on the Milani glowy blush because she used like a really nice glowy blush and highlight. So then she sets the whole face with setting powder, and then after that dries down, goes back in with a face powder or translucent powder to mattify just the specific areas that she wants to be matte. Here's where I'm using that new Halo Glow powder from e.l.f. It was my first impression, and I'm very impressed. It was much more full coverage than I thought it was going to be. Very impressed and very excited to kind of play with that in the future. So then she uses a really white pinkish eyeshadow under the eye, just in this little upside down triangle here to brighten it up in there. As you can see, I used a white face powder mixed with a tiny bit of pink blush to do that. Again, that's something I really, really like. I am no newbie to that. I love that. So now, just like earlier, I don't think I mentioned I was using the e.l.f. New Classics. This is just, as you guys might already know, my favorite drugstore eyeshadow, like, period. My favorite drugstore eyeshadow palette, like, of all time. So I'm using that. I'm going in with some shimmers now, just like she did. There's like a goldy shimmer on the lid and then a super, super bright white shimmer on the inner tear duct area. Looks gorgeous. Again, nothing new to me. I love that look. I do that all the time. I love the shimmer. And then just running some bronzer along the lower lash line, just like she does, just to kind of tie the top to the bottom. And just like in my original try to Brynne's makeup, I could not find my lash glue absolutely anywhere. So I'm just throwing on some mascara instead and skipping the fake lashes. I'm using the e.l.f. Lash and Roll here, which I absolutely love. And as you can see, it does a pretty good job. So this looks fine even without fake lashes, in my opinion. I mean, look at that. I feel like that looks really good. So then she just sets the face again with some setting spray, goes and fills in her beauty marks that got covered up by foundation, which I also do. I have one little mole on my face that I always fill back in. And then just using a nice like neutral nude lip liner, she lines the full lips and then fills them in completely, and then uses her beauty blender with a little bit of foundation or concealer on it and kind of blots out the middle of the lips to kind of give a nice nude ombre lip. And then she tops it off with gloss. And of course, that is just so gorgeous. I really am not a person who uses like my concealer on my lips. I know a lot of people do that. That's totally new to me, but I can totally see why people do it because I think it is absolutely gorgeous. And it definitely makes your lips look completely monochromatic with the rest of your face. It looks so good. I was actually using the new Hard Candy lip oils here, and as you can see, I was quite surprised. It's a lot more of a almost watery formula than I thought, but it's really good. And it's not sticky at all, and it stayed nice and wet and glossy for a long time. I was surprised how long this lip oil lasted on my lips, truly. It's very, very good, and I love this color. So I think that makeup look just looks absolutely gorgeous, and I just love it. And you can pull all of this off with makeup from Walmart, and I just think that that's incredible. So thank you, Brynne, for sharing your in-depth makeup tutorial. It looks freaking gorgeous, and you can totally achieve that with any makeup products that you probably already own, and definitely drugstore makeup. And this is how it looks in daylight with no filter, no vanity lighting. And yeah, again, I felt gorgeous. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in another video very soon. Bye.